Southern Minnesota's premier talk radio show, Al in the Afternoon. Your friend who knows a guy. Here's your host, Al Travis.
I know Lewis. You probably know him as Mr. Binge TV Guru. And I know him enough to ask him to come do this program, on his off day. Lewis, thank you very much for coming on and doing this this list with me. I knew this was going to be a killer list when we started. No idea the traction this was going to get. Thank you for coming on the program, sir.
Glad to be on, and sorry I couldn't be on yesterday. I couldn't be on because my mom wanted me to go to the grocery store because we're out of bologna. So yeah. I had to go get the gremlin out and go to the grocery store and pick up that bologna.
We all got our problems, but I appreciate you being here today. So the negatrometer meeting went off, evidently, with our bit last, was it last week we started this? Yeah, last week. Well, let me see if I can bring it up here real quick, and I know I can. We happened to talk about the Newlywed Game. Love it.
Yep.
What's my line? That was a good show. And then we went into the Family Feud. And for folks who don't know, the list this time is what was the first show aired, when was it first aired, and how long did it last? Kind of a quiz for Al, which is fine, but it gets us conversing about these great TV game shows. Well, you brought up the Family Feud. And I was going through the list of great ones. And Richard Dawson by far owned that bit, right?
Absolutely.
We would agree. Well, the Bear, popular radio announcer here in Southern Minnesota, was listening to the bit. And he hated the word that I used. I hated Ray Combs and Louis Anderson. He thought that was way too harsh. Now, he's discussing on his show. He didn't bring up Richard Karn, who's, okay, John Hurley, hello. And then the one I really want to hate, Al Roker, when they did that Celebrity Family Feud. Are you kidding me? These guys were chump change when it came to the show. My point being is, and here's what I'd like to clear up. I have nothing against Louis Anderson. Fine comedian. Ray Combs, don't have a clue what he did before this. Don't know where he went. None of these. I am just grading them on how well they did the bit we're talking about. Is that fair enough? Can I not say I hated him in Family Feud? He sucked at it.
I think to say that you hated him as a host of Family Feud is very reasonable. Very reasonable. He's a great comedian. I think he does some great bits. But to me, he was walking through that show. He was there for the bucks. I get it. That's fine. But it was not entertaining. He did not have.
Well, thank you. And the bear can have his opinion. I hate anything. I don't hate the person. It's kind of like some of these movies we've been doing, right? We go through these movies. You know what? I hated that movie. There are probably nice people in it, but doesn't mean I got to like the movie.
Just like Julia Roberts. Horrible actress, probably a fine person.
My wife would shoot you. Pretty Woman was a love story.
My God.
Yeah, I have a tough time with that. I get more trouble than ever. So let's go over the list again. It is, when did this first air and how long was it on? And this first one, probably the first time I actually ever really watched the game show and really enjoyed it.
State of the Union. For more than 3,000 DeSoto Plymouth dealers of America, present Groucho Marx in You Bet Your Life. And now, here he is, the one, the only... Groucho! That's me, Groucho Marx.
You're a very pretty girl, you know that?
Thank you.
Did you know that?
Oh, I've heard it, to be honest.
You don't have to be honest with me, you know.
Yeah,
I don't propose to be honest with you. What are you taking in college besides Bob?
I'm taking a major in medicine.
You're taking a major in medicine, huh? Is your husband aware of this?
Groucho Marx and I bet You Bet Your Life. I once shot an elephant in my pajamas. How he got my pajamas, I'll never know. I love. Now I say I watched it. This was on well before I ever was watching television, but great. One of the all-time classics. I've watched all of them, I'm sure, at some time in my life.
I have too, and of course I watch them all in reruns too, because it did start out pretty darn early. But I'll tell you, Groucho Marx was awesome in this, and he set a standard for comedy and game shows, bar none. I mean, it was superior, far above the majority of comedy done in game shows. Well,
and what I think he showed, I'm not going to remember who did it. I'm not sure if that's coming up on your list, but I'll find out. He made the host be something in a show. He wasn't just reading the line and here's the question, here's the answer. He's listening to this young lady. He's listening to the guest being funny on the quick. He is like Richard Dawson. Again, we liked him on his show. The ability to be that funny naturally and quick-witted makes him a great host on game shows. Other game show hosts have to stick up and say, can I be that quick-witted? I would use this. They had on that show, I believe the first time they did it was the hidden word.
Right.
The duck would come down.
Yep,
if you hear
exactly.
this word, whatever, if it said, they're still doing that stuff on weird shows now that Bravo's got a guy. And if you hear this word, take a drink. We do it on that. We're still using clips from, I believe that came out in the 50s.
What year would you guess that started?
52, 19 and 52.
Close. 1950, and the first run was till 1961. 11 years.
Wow. Yeah.
That's what did it.
So I mean, but that's why, right? I mean, they're game show hosts, and they're game, and I'm not ripping any of these. The Bob Eubank, you can read the question and answer the question, and maybe somebody will say something funny. But the one where they have the three guests on the top. It's in the 70s, three on the bottom, and they try to guess words, and they come match game.
Yes.
That host was one of those guys who could see what came up funny and jump on it and expound the funny, just like Groucho Marx did.
The game show was almost irrelevant to the bits. And that's because of the host and the way the host presented himself. And Groucho Marx, how could you go wrong having Groucho Marx doing one-liners? Because first of all, he knew 1,000 one-liners before the show started that he would use a drop of a hat.
But the difference is then the checkered board where you had the tic-tac-toe game, where they had 9 celebrities, but the celebrities were giving some funny line that at some point they should throw in because it'll go well with some, the question.
Sure.
I hated that. It was staged to me. It wasn't as funny. A host like Groucho Marx carried the whole darn thing.
Probably my favorite game show, You Bet Your Life.
Oh, yeah. I think the Newlywed Game's up there
right
for
up
me.
Close, if not at the top.
Well, I see one coming up that we might get to that there's no way in the world. I can't think it was one of the greatest, funniest shows of all time. But we'll go to the next one. So that came out in 1950, you say, and went for 12 years.
1950 to 61.
I'm going to say I don't think this thing lasted all that long because it was so gimmicky. Here's our next game show.
Who are more than adequate for that purpose. Let's meet them, and here they are. Fellas, good luck. A former Golden Gloves champion, Bachelor number 1 has little difficulty taking care of himself in any situation. In addition to sporting events of any type, he also enjoys the discotheque scene. We'd like you to welcome Lance Remmer.
Skip up to the woman.
And an actor who has been seen in such series as The Name of the Game and Mod Squad. Bachelor number 2 is also an artist working on his first one-man show. He's from Studio City, California. His name is Joey Hooker. Joey? And Bachelor number 3 would like to be a professional motorcyclist. He's a parachutist. He enjoys scuba diving. He was born in Johnson City, Tennessee. We'd like you to meet Paul Knuckles. Good luck, Paul. And that's all I can tell you about our bachelors for the moment. Now, to prevent our young lady from hearing the introductions of our gentlemen, we've been keeping her isolated off stage in a soundproof room. Let's bring her on stage right now. A former beauty title holder, she creates beauty of her own on canvas, and as an accomplished artist and sculptress, she hopes to open her own gallery. She's from Corpus Christi, Texas, finds relaxation in many outdoor sports. We're delighted to welcome to the dating game, Farrah Fawcett. Hello,
Yeah, Farrah Fawcett. No kidding. See, the only great thing, in my opinion, about the dating game was the fact that these were all people in Hollywood. They wanted to make a name. They had to get on TV somehow. Farrah Fawcett, I don't know if this made her deal, but she wasn't Farrah Fawcett at that time. You know
Not the Farrah Fawcett we knew. And another one I found interesting, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
He was one of the contestants. I'm like, what? And supposedly before they're famous, like you said, they're trying to get airtime any way possible.
Yeah, so I didn't mind the dating game. I don't think you could even do the dating game today just because of the sexual innuendos about dating now. Back then, at least there was some pretense. But it's easy to say this thing was in the 70s. I mean, good gosh, it's Farrah Fawcett's in a miniskirt. They got I remember the weird stucco flowery things on the wall. And yeah, I would say this
very
came out in
dated
the
style.
70s.
However, even though it's a dated style, how long do you think their first run was?
See, I don't think that went that long. 5 years, I would go. I would say 1960 to 1965.
It started in
75.
It started in 1965, and the first run ended in 1980.
Really?
And they've had another one since then.
Wow. Okay, I'm a little colored shocked there. I did not know that. No, that
But
really.
that's not necessarily a good thing.
Well, sometimes you just got to keep the game show network on, so you keep it running. Wow, I did not know that ran much longer than it deserved.
15 years.
Yeah, but that's kind of that whole thing, getting into people's business. I think it's why some of these weird TV shows going on now. Love Island. I don't know if you've heard of this thing, Lewis. They just put 28 sex-crazed kids on an island and film who sleeps with who. It's just terrible.
Really? No, I missed that one. Mom probably won't block that on my channel changes.
Mom's not blocking month. Next one. Oops, sorry, I gotta push a button here. The next one, I found I didn't. How do I put it? I didn't find it all that entertaining. It was interesting to see if they could guess in time to see who was who. But I personally did not. I did not find this the most entertaining TV show. And let's just talk about it. Here it is.
For our next team of challenges, please. What is your name, please?
My name is Ted Geisel.
What is your name, please?
My name is Ted Geisel.
What is your name, please?
My name is Ted Geisel.
All right, panel, once again, will you take a look at the copy of the affidavit in front of you now? I, Ted Geisel, am perhaps better known to the juvenile reading public as Dr. Seuss. I am the creator and illustrator of one of the most famous advertising campaigns of all time, Quick Henry the Flit. More recently, I created Gerald McBoing Boing, who became the hero of the 1950 Academy Award-winning cartoon. I am known primarily, however, as the author and illustrator of 15 children's books, which feature weird and wonderful animals. My current bestseller, The Cat in the Hat, has sold so far almost 250,000 copies. Signed, Ted Geisel.
It's to tell the truth, and I'd love your opinion on this, Louis. You found out some interesting things about, the guest or whatever. The idea of, 20 questions is basically what is off of, ask a question. Can you narrow it down to figure out who's who? I didn't find it that entertaining. The first 30 seconds when you found out what, Dr. Seuss did. Thank you very much. I'm pretty good after that. Am I wrong? I didn't find it.
I always felt about this show, it was a great show when they had interesting guests or a secret guest that was interesting. Unfortunately, the interesting guest happened about once every 30 or so people. The rest is like, I don't care. It just was, I don't care. And it ran from 1956 to 1968. So it ran for 12 years. And I, like you, really wasn't a big fan. When they had somebody interesting like Dr. Seuss, I was interested to watch enough to see which one of these guys is Dr. Seuss. But other than that, it was like, who invented the marble? Which one of these guys? Well, I don't care.
You and I in movies very rarely agree on anything. But when it comes down to game shows, you and I are rock solid, Mr. Lewis. We got to get one more in. I got to go to break first. So, Lewis, we'll be back after this.
buck up those lonely little hours at home with all those rotten little kids and all that washing laundry and soap suds. Here, folks, here comes the Prince of Puns. Here to pep up that murky day around your apartment. Here comes the Baron of Buffo, the Wizard of Whoopee. Here comes the Unknown Comic. That's the unknown geezer. Wait a minute. Get that unknown.
I risk not playing that whole thing because I'm more scared of what the Unknown Comic will say when he gets on. Mr. Lewis, the Gong Show was fantastic game show television. I'm sorry, it was something for everybody in it. It got raunchy at times. It was a fun time. It was a half hour of absolute fun from the second they turned it on until they turned it off. Tell me I'm lying.
You knew from the time the show started till it ended, these people are having the host, the contestants, the panel were having the time of their life in your mind. And I believe they were. It was just like a train wreck happening. And I was in high school when this came out, senior in high school, and we could not stop talking about this show.
The Unknown Comic could not survive today with the stuff he said. Most of the Gong Show wouldn't work. The guests that were there, the judge, I don't know, they won some minuscule prize, like $500, some weird thing. But they just wanted to be on to prove how great they were until they got gonged by one of the guests. It was absolutely, and Chuck, is it Chuck Barris, right? Chuck
Barris, right.
He was the perfect host for that thing. He didn't care if he got pied in the face. He didn't care if he was spitting when he was yelling. This guy was, I presume, high as a kite the whole time. I have no idea. He
had many personal issues during the filming of this and the party end, and so did the panel. They said it was literally just a party. And so what you thought was happening wasn't staged. It was happening in 1976. So it's a tremendous show and stands alone for its uniqueness, if nothing else.
If anybody were going to want to stream it or whatever, you could watch that hour after hour and laugh yourself to death. It is an absolutely wonderful show. It holds up for time. Yeah, that one needed to be on this list, Lewis. That was fantastic. That was one of my all-time favorites.
What was the years of the first run? How long did it last?
That's mid-70s, and it probably lasts 6-8 years. I would say 73 to 83, 75 to 83.
76 to 80. 4 years.
All right.
4 years. And there is a new Gong Show airing as we speak. And I did tune in and watch it. It is totally unwatchable. It is not funny. It is not good. It's so staged. They're trying to do what Chuck Barris did, and it is not working at all.
You can't recreate it. Lewis, we're completely out of time. Thank you, my boy, for taking the extra time to come here and be with us today on your off day. I thank you very much, and what a great list. There's a lot more very good shows coming up. Maybe we can talk about them next week.
Let's do it. I love it.
All right, it's Lewis, Mr. Binge TV Guru. Get him on Facebook. Just go to Mr. Binge TV Guru on Facebook, hit his button, and you'll find all the lists.